Good evening, and welcome to Snug Harbor. A foggy day in London town had me low, had me down. I filled the morning with great alarm. The British Museum, you see. The connection between me and Snug Harbor is very unique. I happened to be doing a jam session. I hosted a jam session in New York for about 3 years with some musicians and a group called You'll See. I happened to meet a lot of New Orleans musicians coming through there. Pat Jolly hooked up a concert here for me at Snug Harbor, and it was really good. The room was packed, and I liked the ambiance. I liked the feeling of the city, and I like the way the people accepted jazz here at Snug Harbor. And Snug Harbor to me is like Blue Note in New York, you know. So it's the jazz scene here in New Orleans. I grew up in Harlem. I moved from Chicago as a little girl because there was no jazz there for me, and that's what I wanted to be, a jazz singer. And so the streets of Harlem and New York was blooming then with a lot of jazz musicians. I started to listen to a lot of horn players, Miles Davis, Gene Ammons, you know, Lester Young, and those were my inspirations. And I realized that my voice was equal, you know, I could scat. I scattered before I even started to sing. Vocalist. That's how I came upon the idea that I wanted to be a jazz vocalist. I had the opportunity to hear some of the musicians here in New Orleans, and I decided to take my chance here because this city, it's supposed to be the roots and the heart of where jazz was born. First of all, I'm an artist, and it's another art form that's a great art form that could easily lose its existence if there weren't jazz musicians who want, or singers who want to play jazz and sing jazz. And it's soul searching, you know, it touches my soul really, and I just love it. I love singing jazz. It reaches out to people, it gives people comfort, and it brings a beauty to the jazz music. And so that's one of my biggest reasons for wanting to sing jazz. Fight the rising sun. artists back, and Katrina was just part of the elements that happens. It could happen anywhere, and I wanted to come back to New Orleans to lend my support to the city, and it has been very good for me, so why not come back and give something back to it? And that was my biggest reason for coming back here. It's going to go forward in a big way because there's new life coming to New Orleans. There's a new respect to the audience, to the artists here in New Orleans, you know, whereas people probably took it for granted before. It was just a big old bowl of gumbo, you know. People could come here and eat all night and listen to music and not really realize that it could have been gone in a second. They're looking at the musicians now in a different light, and they're looking at the city in a different light, you know, because it is a jewel. It's a jewel in the road. It's something so magical about New Orleans, and Katrina gave new light to that. Think about the girl I never ever think of. When your lonely heart as long as Ella Fitzgerald, there's Betty Carter, there's Carmen McRae, there's Billie Holiday, there's Nina Simone, you know, all those singers were my inspiration. If I could sing along with one of them, you know, I've always wanted to be able to sing along with singers like Betty Carter, or even study with singers like Betty Carter, or Miles Davis, or most of all. From my heart, when I get up in the morning, I generally go into the bathroom and the first thing I do is start singing. I don't know who lives up over me, but that's what I do. And I walk out the door singing. You know, it's like I'm a bird, you know, I have to do this. I'm a singer. Then I should tell them I'll remember you. And I like to see the expression on their faces when I sing. And when people walk up to me and ask me to sing songs for them, I know they're listening, and that's a reward for me. Had some really funny things happen to me here in New Orleans, you know. One of the funniest things that happened to me in New Orleans was Elvis Marcellus telling me to go back where I came from. And I didn't know what he meant at that time, you know. And then some years later, I get a call on the radio, I get a call on telephone, and they're asking me to do this blues fest, this concert in Greenville, Mississippi. Paid more than the gigs that I had in New Orleans, and I was saying to them, well, how many musicians do you need? They said, well, these musicians wanted you. And all the time I was going around thinking that he didn't like me, you know. he was the musician that had asked me to do the concert with him, and I fell apart, you know. It was the greatest feeling that I've had here.
Look down the track, the road coming home to you. What did I do?
I've had the opportunity to write some lyrics. One of my favorite tunes was Jazz Waltz. I wrote it with a pianist from New Jersey named Betty Liss. And I wrote some tunes with a young man. He's no longer a young man now, but he's a good friend of mine. His name is Alan Kamen. I wrote a lot of lyrics with Alan Kamen. And I've written some stuff by myself. And one of the favorite tunes was Jazz Waltz that I've written. And another one of my favorite tunes was Rockabye Boo.
My lonely, lonely nights are through. Since you said you were mine, oh, what a difference day makes.
Yeah, I perform at the 528 Club at Harrah's. It's a new hotel. I perform at the Royal Sinesta in the Mystic Den every Thursday. And I'm periodically at Snug Harbor.
Skies above can be stormy. Since that moment of bliss, your thrilling kiss, it's heaven when you find romance on your knees. What a difference a day makes, oh baby, and the difference is you.